How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder. To recap the series over the weekend between the Yankees and the White Sox, the Yankees taking 3 out of 4 as their losing streak, or winning streak, I should say, rather, did come to an end, finished at 7 games straight. They did lose the final game of the series 3-2 on Sunday. But to kind of go through it, Yankees won on Thursday 10-4. Offense came alive on Thursday and on Friday. They scored 10 runs in back-to-back games. Trent Grisham had a grand slam in one of those games. He had another home run as well. And that takes him up to, I think, 27 homers? 28 homers now on the season. So he continues his breakout season. Aaron Judge came alive in this series, had a couple of homers. He actually tied Yogi Berra on Sunday for the 5th most home runs in Yankees history at 358, and he almost had 359, but it hit off the top of the wall, just missed going out. That was in Sunday's game. Anthony Volpe had a good series, had a couple of big hits. On Friday night's game, he hit a home run. He also had a single as well that drove in a run, a 2-run homer as well. So that was his 19th homer of the season. Cody Bellinger also had a good series as well. Had some hit a home run in this series. Also drove in some runs along with that. Pitching wise, you got some good outings from Carlos Rodon and Cam Schlittler. Luis Heel pitched okay. Will Warren got into some trouble. Also, it didn't help that, look, Volpe had a good series hitting wise, but did have an error that led to a grand slam. That was in Thursday's game. But Warren did get himself into trouble. Along with that, he walked a guy. I think he hit somebody as well. But the bullpen actually did a very good job on Thursday. They pitched 4 scoreless innings. You had Fernando Cruz, Luke Weaver, Devin Williams, and Mark Leiter Jr. get the job, and they also struck out a combined 7 batters and no walks. So that was very good to see from that. White Sox also had 3 errors in the game on Thursday. I also was out for this game. I was actually watching. We went to the movies. My family and I. We watched Jaws in theaters for the 50th anniversary. So awesome seeing that on the big screen. So I was kind of keeping up with the score as I was at the movies. But Jazz Chisholm also homered in the game on Thursday, his 26th homer of the season. He actually joined Alfonso Soriano, I believe, and A-Rod as the only Yankees to have 8 homers and 8 stolen bases in 1 month. So I thought that was interesting. But he's had a very good year as well, despite missing some time with the oblique injury. Ben Rice had an RBI single in the game. Judge, a single. Jazz, a sac fly later in the game. Volpe had a sac fly. Grisham, like I said, had a homer and had the grand slam the following night. So good night for the Yankees on Thursday. On Friday, you had Carlos Rodon on the mound, starting against the White Sox in Chicago for the first time since he left. Of course, spent some time with the Giants, now with the Yankees. And the Yankees saw an old friend in Yoendrys Gomez, who did not pitch very well. He had 6 walks in this game. White Sox pitching walked 9 Yankees in this game, so that wasn't very good. But Yankees got things started off in the first inning with they got the bases loaded, but Ben Rice grounded into a double play. They did score a run. Then later, Yankees put up a 4 spot in the 4th inning. That was the Trent Grisham grand slam, so that was his 28th homer of the season. Volpe had an RBI single in the top of the 6th. Wells an RBI single to make it 7-1. Rice another single to make it 8-1. Then Volpe hit his 19th homer of the season to make it 10-1. Final score ended up being 10-2. Carlos Rodon got through 6 innings. Once again, Aaron Boone came out. Looked like he was going to take him out, but Rodon said, "Let me finish this inning," and he was able to strike out his final batter of the game to get through it. Fernando Cruz pitched a scoreless 7th. Tim Hill gave up a run in the 8th inning, and Doval pitched a scoreless 9th inning, but the bullpen did its job once again. So then we go to Saturday's game, and you had a couple of good pitchers going at it. Cam Schlittler for the Yankees going up against the right-hander Shane Smith, who's been good for the White Sox this season. And, yeah, it was pretty low scoring. Yankees didn't really score all their runs until the 11th inning and extra innings. But Judge in the top of the fourth inning, hit his 42nd homer of the season. Austin Wells hit a home run in the top of the seventh inning to put the Yankees up 2-1. That was his 19th homer of the season. So it was 1-1 going into the seventh. And then the Yankees put in Devin Williams. And Devin Williams gives up a double. Then he gives up a single. Game's tied. So Devin Williams, in really his first high leverage situation where he has to preserve a lead, he wasn't able to do it. So then you kind of figured, all right, this is not good. If the Yankees can't get any runs here, they're going to end up losing this game. But we got into extra innings. And David Bednar was able to pitch in and out of trouble. Luke Weaver also got himself into some trouble. I think Benintendi hit a double off of him in the eighth inning, but he was able to get out of it. But the Yankees were actually very close to losing this game. There was a double hit down the right field line, but it just went foul. I think that was in the bottom of the 10th inning. So the Yankees were very close to losing the game. But Bednar was able to wiggle his way out of it. Yankees, some questionable decisions in extra innings. Austin Wells gets thrown out running into home, on first contact. The White Sox come up throwing a home plate and tag him out. Yankees they're just not good in extra innings. But they did, of course, do a lot better in the 11th. But you just figured when you get into the extra innings with this team on the road, they're not going to win. But like I said, Bednar pitched out of trouble. They go to the 11th inning. And what the White Sox did was they intentionally walk Aaron Judge to get to Cody Bellinger. Had a runner at third base. And Bellinger comes up, good piece of hitting, a bloop single to left field. That drops in. Jazz Chisholm comes up, and this was the biggest run of the game, honestly, because you got to get that tack-on run in extra innings, especially when you're the road team. And Chisholm was able to have a great at-bat, good piece of hitting, hits the ball to left field, brings in another run. Then Volpe comes up, he hits a bloop single to right field. That scores a run. So the Yankees put up a 3-spot in the top of the 11th inning to go up 5-2. White Sox did get a run in the bottom of the 11th. Camilo Duval came in, but he was able to lock it down and get the save, and the Yankees won that game. And then we go to Sunday's game. Yankees ended up losing 3-2. Judge hit his 43rd homer of the season. That tied Yogi Berra. White Sox were able to get a run in the bottom of the second inning. Will Robertson, an RBI double to make it 1-1. Bellinger in the top of the third after a Judge double. He doubles to make it 2-1. Yankees, they could have been up 4-1 because then Giancarlo Stanton comes up and he hits a ball that would have went over, but Mike Tauchman robbed him of a 2-run homer. If he put a little bit more air onto that, that would have been out. Yankees would have won this game. But Mike Tauchman, the former Yankee, says not so fast. And that kind of made a huge difference in the game. And I said it watching it. I said that's might come back to bite them if they can't score. So then later in the game, bottom of the sixth inning, Luis Gil gives up a home run, surrenders a home run to Colson Montgomery. Good piece of hitting there. He was able to go down and get it and drive it out deep to center field for his 15th homer of the season. And Yankees had a chance in the top of the eighth inning. They had the bases loaded, but Ben Rice hit a little check swing to shortstop, get the final out of the inning. And then Sosa comes up against Tim Hill. Tim Hill gets the first 2 outs of the inning. And Tim Hill has not been good against righties. Very good against left-handed hitters, but not good against righties. And he surrenders the home run. And then the Yankees, they do get 2 guys on base. Trent Grisham led off the inning with a walk. And they did get another guy on base. Actually, no. I'm mistaken. They didn't. I was thinking of a different inning. But yeah, Trent Grisham walked. He was able to get to second. But Goldschmidt flew out. Judge flew out. Just missed that pitch that he flew out on. But Bellinger ends up striking out on a bad call. I think it did clip the inside of the strike zone. So if there was ABS, probably still would have been a strike. It didn't look like a strike from the naked eye, but that ended up being the final out of the inning, final out of the game, I should say. And the Yankees ended up losing 3-2. And everybody that they needed to lose won yesterday. The Mariners won. The Blue Jays won. The Red Sox won. So Yankees going into yesterday's game were 2 games back of the Blue Jays, and they went down to 3 again. But actually, as we are recording this right now, the Blue Jays just took the lead. They put up a 2-spot in the top of the 9th inning. They were losing 2-1 to the Reds. Bo Bichette just homered, so they're winning 3-2 now. Red Sox are winning. Astros are losing 3-2, but now it's tied 3-3. So not looking good. The Yankees have an off day. Tigers are losing, though, to the Mets. Juan Soto, I think, has 6 RBIs in the game. He has been hitting the ball very well for the Mets. So Yankees look like they're going to lose ground today on their off day. But look, Yankees did what they were supposed to do. We keep saying it. They beat up on the bad teams, the Nationals and the White Sox. They went 6-1 against them. And now you go into the toughest part of your season, and what's really going to define your season is taking on teams that you will face in the playoffs. The Astros, you got 3 games against them in Houston. Then you got 3 games against the Blue Jays at home later in the week. Then you got 3 games against the Tigers next week. I'll be at the first game. And then you got the Red Sox in Fenway for 3 games. And then your schedule softens up again. So this is really what's going to make or break the Yankees season. Again, I've been saying it all along. They've been winning these games. They've been playing well. You like to see that. But, let's be honest, can't get too excited because it's against inferior competition. But you could also look at, some of the games that the Red Sox have dropped. I mean, they lost a couple of games to the Pirates. Good teams lose to bad teams. Okay? So people could, discount it all they want, including me. But you could also say that as well, that, the other good teams that the Yankees are, in this chase with, they've been losing to bad teams as well. And look on the other side. Mets lost 3 out of 4 to the Marlins. So, and the Yankees got swept by the Marlins. So, it goes both ways. But look, part of what makes you a good baseball team is to be able to beat up on the bad teams, win the games you're supposed to win. And that's what they did. And they could have won this game yesterday and swept them. But, a couple of plays here or there made the difference. I think you got good pitching out of the starters. I think the bullpen has now started to stabilize. Fernando Cruz being back just makes all the difference in the world, having him back in the bullpen. And now with the September call-ups, the expanding of the rosters, Yankees add another pitcher. Ryan Yarbrough is back up with the Major League Club, so he's another guy that can give the Yankees innings out of the bullpen as well. So they got him that can give them length out of the bullpen, and he did well as a starter this year. And you also have Paul Blackburn and mop up time if you have to go to him. So, and they also brought back up J.C. Escaro. So now the Yankees are carrying 3 catchers. So anybody that thought Spencer Jones was going to come up, yeah, it's not going to happen. Probably going to see him next year. Well, we will see him next year. So, yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Volpe had a good series. I know he had the error that led to the grand slam, but, that hopefully that gives him confidence to get things going, right? Because he really was giving you nothing for a while. And, to be able to hit a home run, drive in some runs this inning, get some the series, get some big hits, that's important. Judge, I really am encouraged by what I've seen out of Judge as of late. Hopefully that means he's going to really go on a tear, because the Yankees are going to need him. It sounds redundant. Yankees are really going to need him for this stretch. He needs to be Aaron Judge. Giancarlo Stanton's been carrying the load for these last few weeks. Now it's Judge's turn to kind of pick up the slack as well. Cody Bellinger's been swinging a good bat. Austin Wells hit that big home run on Saturday. Hopefully he can get him going, because that would be a huge help as well, because Ben Rice has kind of taken his job. Ben Rice has been in the lineup constantly, and well deserved. But Wells is, you'd probably say Wells is the better catcher behind the plate. But Ben Rice has just been so good at the dish that that Wells has kind of lost some playing time. So McMahon had a couple of nice hits this series as well. He continues to play a very good third base. So at least there's that. But offensively, he's been left to be desired. So, look, this is a very important stretch coming up, and the Yankees got to prove to the fans that they belong, because a lot of fans just still aren't buying in. And if they can go and put together a good stretch, you go 8-4, 9-3, something like that. Fans are going to be really excited. But, if you put together a stretch, which I personally, for me, I think they're probably going to go 5-7 over these next 12 games. I think 5-7 is realistic. And even then, that might be a little bit too much. Because, with the Astros, you just kind of know what it's going to be at this point. Well, not really the Astros, but, well, historically, yes. But the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, it just has not gone well. And especially, with the Red Sox at Fenway. Last time the Yankees went there, they got swept. Blue Jays at home could go a little bit differently. In Toronto, it's been a struggle. The Tigers is the one that interests me because the Yankees played them so long ago, and it was in Detroit. It was when the weather was freezing. I don't know what it's going to be like when these two teams match up. But if the Yankees see Skubal, that's going to be a problem. So looking at the pitching matchups, though, for this Houston series, Yankees got Max Fried on the mound against Framber Valdez. Then you got Will Warren against George Costanza, Jason Alexander again, and he shut the Yankees down the last time they faced him. Then you got Carlos Rodon against Christian Javier, who's 1-1 on the season. Go out there and win 2 out of 3. Because if you could do that, then you start to get the fans to say, all right, you did that in Houston. Let's see what you could do, keep going. But like I said, then the schedule softens up after that. So we'll see how it goes. But there was definitely a lot to like from this stretch of games. I think the pitching is starting to stabilize, like I said. Max Fried has looked good as of late. Rodon has been giving you good outings. Cam Schlittler. I mean, you got to give Schlittler some props, too. I mean, he has just been awesome since he's come up. He's become a real weapon for the Yankees, and he's going to make a playoff start. He is going to do that, and the Yankees are going to need him to be how he's been down the stretch here. But he looks very good, and he's getting better and better each time out. Luis Gil, it's interesting. So he's been kind of, not using all of his velocity. He's trying to, command his pitches better. That's why you're seeing a dip in his velocity. Because I know there was some concern of that. That was, because the trainers went out, Boone went out his last start to see what was up. Because he's been walking a lot of guys. And he has to work on that. Because other than that, I mean, he's, since he's come back, he's been fine. He hasn't been getting crushed. It's just he's walking way too many batters. You got to cut down on that. But, now you're throwing pitches that, are 93, 94. You don't locate your pitch properly, and then the next thing you know, it's in the seats. So, I mean, the home run he gave up to the Colson Montgomery, I mean, that was low and away, and Montgomery went down and got it. So, I mean, I give credit to Montgomery for making contact with that. So, it was out of the zone. But you got to be careful. So, but when you look at the Yankees' rotation going into the postseason, it's going to be those 4 guys. It's Fried, Rodon, Schlittler, Gil. I don't think Will Warren is going to make a postseason start. I don't think he should. And I don't want to knock Will Warren, but him in October, I can't see it. So maybe he has to come out of the bullpen. But he's got to come up big as the Yankees get close to October, as the calendar now flips to September. And he's going to be making a start against the Astros on Wednesday. So I think that was the same. No, I shouldn't say that. Warren pitched against the Astros, right? The last time they played against each other. I think it was, there was Gil. There was, I don't think he did. I think it was Gil, Schlittler, and Fried. Yeah, I think that's what it was, if I'm not mistaken. But Warren's going to have to come up big in this series. But let me know what you guys think about the series against the White Sox. What were your takeaways from it? Good series from a lot of guys, and hopefully they can carry that momentum into the series against the Astros. And, it's kind of strange because I'm actually okay. Well, I wanted the Yankees to win yesterday, but I think it was better that they lost going into the series against the Astros because I don't know. Something about them with the winning streak. I mean, look at how it was when they went up against the Red Sox. They had this winning streak. They go up against the Red Sox, and they end up losing the first 3 games. Now they're coming in on a losing streak against the Astros. I don't know. Does that make sense? I get a reality check. I think that's really what I was trying to say. It was a reality check before getting into the series. Yankees know what they have to do. Now they just got to go out there and do it. They're constantly telling the fans, we got to play better, we got to do this, we got to do that. Well, now this is your moment to go and do it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the series this weekend. Some thoughts on the series coming up against the Astros. Let me know in the comments. Football, NFL, starts this weekend. We had the first week of college over the weekend, some very good games. I don't like the criticism that Arch Manning is getting after his first career start. I mean, that's something maybe we touch upon in another episode, but already everybody's jumping off of that bandwagon. And of course, that's what happens when football comes back. I mean, there's going to be overreactions after week 1 in the NFL. Somebody's going to lose a game or someone's not going to perform right. Oh, yep, this guy's not going to be good this year. So that's what sports is about in general too. It's just overreactions. But we got a lot of football stuff coming up this week, picks, and I'm trying to get something together for Wednesday where we're going to pick all the divisions, playoff teams, and Super Bowl predictions. So make sure to look out for that. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Make sure to follow us on the social media platforms in the description below. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to us as well. You look up Infinite Sports. So if you missed anything, want to listen to us, go ahead. I have had a video with Ben last week with the Giants. So if you want to listen to that or watch it, it's on the channel. You can listen to it as well, wherever you get your podcast, like I said. And as always, everybody, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.